Good morning, all. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Tuesday, the 17th of February. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and I'm not here to issue trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers to chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 2 days. We've got a decision to make here, and that is that we've seen, we had quite a bullish window last week, and that did not deliver. And we've got a decision to make now because actually we've got a fairly bearish window into the end of the month now. And I'm thinking this could slide considerably further. We had a number of weak 60-minute buy signals fixed, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday last week, and they haven't delivered. And that is actually pretty unusual and a significant sign of weakness. And since then, we've actually broken mostly below the daily middle bands. Not all of them. Dow is still holding, but I'm thinking that we may see a significant slide down from here if we see more weakness. So we will see how that goes. In the short term, what I would say is that, hey, Doug, in the short term, what I would say is that the stats for this week are, right, hang on. Right. Today, we've got the end of the bullish window, so we're still leaning 71% bullish today, but we're neutral tomorrow. We are bearish on Thursday and Friday. We're going into next week. We are bearish on the Monday, neutral on Tuesday, bullish on Wednesday, neutral on Thursday, and the last day of the month, which is Friday the 17th, it is again bearish. And we're seeing more bearish days. We've got quite a few bearish days really coming up. And with the position with the market in the overall weak position that it's in now, I was talking about the possible topping setups there on the bigger picture webinar last night. And that is very much in my mind. In the short term, we've got a 6-minute buy signal still fixed on ES, and we've got a potential little double bottom setup here, which looks quite nice. And we got a bullish leading day today. In terms of the NQ chart, we got a weak 6-minute buy signal fixed and a potential little double bottom setup here too. We've got 60-minute buy signal has reached the possible near miss target. In effect, has now reached the full target actually here because we got back to the 30 level on RTY. Not really seeing an obvious pattern set up here. On YM, we had a 60-minute buy signal fixed, and that hasn't made target either. And it's unusual for those to not make target within a day or two. So the fact that they haven't is at least some cause for alarm. We will see how that goes, but obviously I've got more about these to say about these on the bigger picture charts. But I'll go through the topping setup there if that's what we're going to see and where the support levels and target levels would be. All right, looking at DAX. DAX, no current divergence. And looking at ESTX, no current divergence because the weak buy signal we had there actually failed. All right, looking at Nikkei. Nikkei, we've got no current divergence, possible head and shoulders forming here, or if it broke down from here, it would be an asymmetric and not particularly pretty double top. So definitely some scope for the downside here. We'll see. All right, great. Let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Okay, looking at the daily middle bands. Right, ES obviously broke down significantly below the daily middle band on Thursday. Well, actually, that might be Friday. When did that happen? Yeah, it was on Thursday and hasn't recovered back above. We made the daily lower band, so obviously this is a weak-looking setup. And overall, we've still got a potential part-formed head and shoulders or double top coming down with support here at 65.21. But here we've actually got a pretty passable-looking and very nice technically head and shoulders here. It hasn't broken down yet, but if it did, it would have a target in the area of this larger support level in the 65.22 area. I'm thinking see some more weakness today, and we could break down towards that and do that in this window. In terms of the head and shoulders here, I'd normally treat this as a double top, but actually you can see this is a lower high here, this is a lower high here, this would be the head. This actually be a pretty nice looking head and shoulders. Not bad, and the breakdown would take us towards the obvious target area at the support level here, and possible head and shoulder neckline, or possible double top support in the 65.22 area. All right, short term, we've got an RSI 5 buy signal fixed on the hourly, and we've got an RSI 14 buy signal fixed on the 15-minute, and we've got the same signals there on the Qs and on Dia as well. All right, looking at the Qs, we've got. Hang on a second. Right. Okay, we've got a significant break below the daily middle band, and again, we're testing the daily lower band here. Do we have a topping pattern from the high? Yes. Although on NDX, I would note that we didn't quite retest this high, but it's still a pretty nice looking potential double top, and with double top support down here, which is at 5.7, basically 580. So that would be the obvious next level. And if we were to reach that big support level on SPX, I'd be expecting in all probability that this would break down. All right, looking at Dia. Dia is the one that's been holding the daily middle band, and we held that with a fairly aggressive test on Friday. But the bigger picture here, you see, we never really got out of the original topping patterns on the Qs or on SPX, but here we actually broke up and made a very, very nice looking overall rising wedge. And I said when we got up to the top there at the beginning of last week that next obvious target would be the wedge support, and if that broke, then obviously that would be a very nice pattern from this April low that would be breaking down. We're pretty close to that, and if we test that and break it, then we could be looking at a topping setup here. Now, how good would that topping setup be? Well, it would be part formed. I've got a couple of possible head and shoulder necklines. Obviously, we could see a high retest. There's no current topping pattern worth the mention here, but it would be easy to form one, particularly with a move down to one of these two levels and then a rally. And we will see how that goes. But I am looking at this. I'm assessing the topping setups, and actually they're not bad. IWM, this isn't looking as nice, but I think if we were going to, hang on, I'm just going to show you what I'm thinking here on this chart. In the event that we were to go down from here, the trend line setup here would be this one. That would be the resistance trend line. This would be a bearish overthrow. This would be a reconfirmation of this trend line as resistance, and that would be the pattern here. Would we have a double top here? Not an awful one, but again, I prefer it when the second high is a full retest, and we haven't seen that full retest here. But there's no reason we couldn't see that in a few days rather than here, and this could be a bull flag forming that could take us lower. We will see. We've got a couple of options for head and shoulders, but this one looks the least complete of the topping patterns if you've got one. But in terms of the wedge setup, that's not bad. That's perfectly reasonable, and I am wondering here, as well as the Dia one, that whether we are actually in the process of delivering a larger decline to basically, be part of a larger topping pattern. We shall see. All right, looking at no divergence on the hourly or 15-minute charts here. I would note nice setup here from the November low, which has broken down, but no obvious topping setup there. All right, looking at DAX, holding the daily middle band here. As long as that holds, I'm still leaning towards seeing a retest of the high here at 25.5k. Nikkei pulling back a bit after the excitement of the election. Nothing really that obvious on the topping setup that you can see on the daily chart, but we did have something more minor going on the hourly chart. All right, looking at DX. DX, we had a buy signal. It's made target. We've actually got a tiny bit of negative divergence here, which has come up since I actually capped this chart for the morning charts. Still got the lovely setups to go up on the bigger picture charts, but I'm losing hope. I think the administration is not very dollar friendly, and that's not likely to change. In the short term, not really seeing a clear direction here. In UUSD, I am thinking that sooner or later, we are going to be coming back up and retesting this low, and we could make a double bottom, which could then deliver a largish rally. UUSD, I'm seeing the same but inverted. GBP USD, I'm leaning towards seeing a retest this low, and then wondering about a possible retest of this high. On USD JPY, still haven't reached the retest of this low here, and this kind of looks like a bear flag consolidation. So bottom line is, I'm thinking we're going to see some more downside on the US dollar soon. That could lead to a larger rally, or it could lead to a more general breakdown. Certainly, we've been skirting around a breakdown for about a year now. We haven't seen it yet, but I'm thinking we may. Looks like a bearish consolidation. Could be bear flag, could be triangle on USD CAD as well. Nice looking double top on Australian dollar. So, but obviously, if the but I was saying, looking at the bigger picture charts on Australian dollar and NZ yesterday, that both of them have made significant breaks up recently, and that would fit with more dollar weakness and more strength on both of them in the not too distant future. All right, looking at ZB, we saw a break up here, and the head and shoulders that had broken down here failed on the 12th of February, and we've now gone back up and retested this high. This is an unexpected break up on bonds, and I'm watching to see where it goes. The head and shoulders on TLT that was pointing down has failed, and the patterns, which corresponding patterns on TNX and TYX, could be in trouble. So we could be looking at a larger bond rally here, although I'm not really seeing what that's based on at the moment, but we will see. We do have on ZB a possible 60-minute sell signal ring, and that's pretty close to trying to fix at the moment. Looking at CL, this still looks like a bullish consolidation. 60-minute buy signal reached possible there as target. HO still looks like a bullish consolidation. RBOB, the double top is not as nice as it was. A little double top here, which just says broken down and played out. I am wondering whether we're fairly close to a larger breakup here, on which on CL would take us up over the 70 area, or at least back up to the 70 area. NG, we gave up most of this spike up here, which was basically a squeeze at the end of the futures contract, has been given back now. I'm wondering about a reversal back down to test this low here at 2.575. GC, looking at a consolidation here, leaning towards this delivering a low retest. We do have quite a lot of sell signals on the weekly and daily charts across the metals, and I'm thinking that's, if we've made a significant short-term high, then we're probably going to see lower in the not too distant future. SI looks like it's going to retest the low. Palladium looks like it's going to retest the low. Platinum looks like it wants to retest the low, and HG is pretty close to retesting the low. Now, these could be setting up some double bottoms to go back up and retest these highs, but in the short term, these all look as though they've got some more downside. I was commenting on the bigger picture yesterday that it's interesting that copper is starting to trade like a precious metal. Might be to do with the AI building boom. We shall see. But it is interesting that this has been following it. Normally, these don't correlate particularly well. KC, I was looking for a retest of this low, and we've seen it. Potential little level bottom here, or we could just continue sliding. SB, wondering about that target down in the 9 area. CC, nothing really suggesting this goes and rallies at the moment. We had some positive divergence last night, which we've now lost. CT, not a lot suggesting this isn't going to slide further at the moment, so we shall see how that goes. On lumber, lumber had a double bottom break up here, but the longer we trade sideways, which is what we've been doing really here for a month, the longer we trade sideways, then the more likely it is that the overall downtrend takes hold and this goes down next. Looking at ZW, nice rally here, might go further. Corn, this looks like a bear flag forming. Soy, very nice rally here, potential level top. Could go further as well though. ZL, very, very nice rally here. Week 6 minutes, sell signals fixed, not showing much sign of making target at the moment. Live cattle could be looking at a topping setup here, but it's not really resolved into any kind of a clear pattern yet. Live cattle, we've seen a breakdown from the channel and almost a 50% retracement. We do have a possible week 6 minute buy signal ring, which I'll be keeping an eye on. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at questions. Yeah, that's it. And well, the thing is, and actually solar panels are likely to be a much more durable source of demand. So I am thinking copper. Well, copper's broken through to new highs. We're waiting to see if it follows through on those, but if it does, then we could see some interesting things happen on copper to the upside. Looking right, let's have a look at, okay, where's support on the Q's wedge? Hang on 1 second, let's have a quick look at that. Unless you're talking about the upside, this wedge actually was broken back in October. This wedge here was broken at the beginning of February. I'm just wondering which wedge you're talking about. We haven't really got one at the moment. Basically, SPX and Qs are both in topping patterns. The chart we had just before this, you talking about QQQ? Hang on. I'm flipping over and going to the Q chart. All right. These are the only QQQ charts I've shown this morning. This daily chart, we've got a rising wedge here which broke down. I'm not seeing the Q's wedge you're talking about, unless you're talking about this one or this one. In which case, both of those are now broken. NDX. Nope. I don't know what you mean, mate. Can you be more specific? No, I hadn't shown the weekly chart. That's on NDX. I don't think. The two where I was looking on equities. We've got the dire one, which is the rising wedge here. That's got support just under 190. All right, okay. This is it. This is the one then. Yeah, I've got that basically a shade below 490. I've got that in the 489.5 to 490 area. And that's where that support is, and that's very much the obvious next target. And having got this far, I'm very much wondering whether it's going to be hit. All right, mate, no worries. In that case, everyone, that's a wrap. Everyone take care. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. All right, cheers.